We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special late night episode of Vikings Uncensored. Due to it being a very busy week for both Brunswick and myself and a few other things going on, we had to go to a late night show this Friday to make sure that we still got the preview in for the Houston Texans game, which Brunswick and our buddy, the Smokehouse King himself, Reggie Adams, will be in attendance for this Sunday. Good evening to everybody who has joined us late night in the chat. Norspheus, Drew, Doc, everybody in the chat, welcome and good evening. A couple of news items here to hit. Quick quarterback related around the NFL that we'll talk about a little bit. Then we'll get a quick recap from Brunswick on the 49ers game. Of course, we had mine on Monday during Rhino's Rants, but we'll give Lance the last word on that. Then we'll roll into the preview for this weekend's matchup against the Houston Texans at US Bank Stadium, 12 noon on Sunday. Hit all the high points on that. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we will do our predictions segment for the NFC North this week once again. So with that, I guess the biggest news probably coming out, a couple different ones. The Miami Dolphins did place Tua Tagovailoa on injured reserve this week, shelving him for a minimum of 4 games. You and I talked about this last week.
Right. Yeah.
Thought it was, that it would have been a good idea for them to do that. And, they are obviously looking at the long-term health of Tua and forcing him, if nothing else, to take 4 weeks off and then reassess at that point afterwards. So,
I mean, short term, yeah, let's see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, it's, he's almost at that point. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors and stuff going around that he may decide to hang up the cleats, and with him going on IR, I don't know if that means anything one way or the other, but gives him 4 weeks to think about it, I guess, at the very least. Absolutely. Doc, that is it's nothing to minimize or push to the side. That's for damn sure.
But my guess is he's going to see many neurological doctors through this time, get opinions from medical personnel, and discuss things with his family within the next 4 weeks, which I'm sure he already has had talks, you would think within. But there's a lot to think about for Tua. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's his decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Then other news, Carolina Panthers have benched second-year quarterback Bryce Young, announcing that Andy Dalton will start on Sunday for the Panthers.
This says a lot about the organization. They failed. They failed that quarterback, I believe.
Absolutely.
When KOC comes out and says, it comes down to 100% what the organization does for these kids coming up out of the NCAA. And, Yeah, I mean, I wish the best for Young. I imagine I would, if I was Young, I wouldn't even want to stick around Carolina. I'm sure that he's going to want to get out of there.
Yep, and that's what Ant says. He'd heard that Bryce Young would be looking for a trade. Honestly, that would be the best thing for Bryce Young. Honestly, it's the best thing for anybody on the Carolina Panthers team is to get a trade out of that hellhole of an organization. But
it's a prime example of what we have here right now when what's going on. With the guy that's running our offense, gets the snap every play, the quarterback, Sam Darnold. Not saying that Bryce Young is Sam Darnold, but a lot of these young guys that come out go to shitty organizations, shitty teams that are year in and year out, perennial losers. And until that organization over there in Carolina gets fixed, as far as the ownership goes, especially, in my opinion,
David Tepper's an idiot.
Yeah, things are going to remain the same in Carolina.
And it's, kind of sad because Carolina, when they came in as an expansion team, they were good right off the get-go. I mean, they've been to the Super Bowl a couple of times and, never won it. But
fucking Jake Delhomme brought him to the Super Bowl that one season. Almost beat the Patriots.
Hey, good evening, Steven. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Bring them to Boise. The Boise Panthers, why not? I mean, but yeah, Tepper needs to sell the team, even though he just bought it a couple of years ago. Get somebody in there who knows how to put together an organization. Because I mean, yeah, they've got nothing.
I believe it's and speaking of Vikings related, I believe a lot of the teams around the league are going to look at us as an example of what to do when it comes to rebuilding. Not that we've been perennial losers by any means, but when it comes to building a team with great culture and leadership.
Yep. And it just, again, speaks volumes about how good of a coaching staff we have here. Kevin O'Connell is extremely underrated in the league, but there are finally people
still blossoming. He's still blossoming as a head coach.
Well, and there are people finally starting to take notice about how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is.
And then on the other end, you have Brian Flores, who is arguably the best defensive coordinator in the league right now and has been doing it for years at a high level.
Yep. Yeah.
Especially as a DC.
Right. And that's the thing, Flores got his guys in and, so far through 2 games, it's paying dividends. I got a couple of little tasty tidbits, as our buddy Drew calls them, that we'll bring up here in a little bit. But third quarterback news, and this does have some bidding on the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Love was practicing this week in Green Bay. Now he is listed as questionable for Sunday. I mean, if he's coming back from a sprained MCL after only missing a week,
we're on the same level here for sure. I think they're rushing him back, and that's a problem for them, in my opinion.
I do too. I really do too. I'm not saying that just because I'm a Vikings fan and I hate the Packers.
We're on the same page here. So yeah.
Drew had a good point on Carolina there. They had McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian Burns. They just got rid of him last year. And there was something I saw this on Twitter X today. We'll go back to Jordan Love in a second, but brings a point with Carolina. All of these big name players that they got rid of, McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian Burns, all these guys, they have wasted more first round picks, the high picks and everything else. All the stuff that they got for those guys, they have wasted that and more and got nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, of course, drafting Bryce Young, number 1 overall, when then the quarterback we faced this week, CJ Stroud, went after that and, blossomed in Houston. Now, I will argue that if CJ Stroud had gone to Carolina, he would be sucking ass just as badly as Bryce Young.
I agree. And that's why I'm not ready to give up on Bryce Young yet. After a season and a half, not even a half, a season and 2 games, you give up on the kid, basically. And this might be a blessing.
This is a new coaching staff. Dave Canales has been the head coach for 2 games, and he's already benched his starting quarterback.
This is a blessing in disguise for Bryce Young, I believe. And
I think so too.
Right now, it might be hard to comprehend mentally, but down the road, there might be a bright future for Bryce Young somewhere else.
Yeah, he gets with a coach that can cultivate him and develop him. A Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay, somebody like that, a Kevin O'Connell type. I'm not saying Bryce Young's coming to Minnesota, but
you mentioned CJ Stroud, and this is a good concept that talking about this coming game too as well. And it goes like with Minnesota and here in Minnesota with the culture that they have going there in Houston, where they believe they can win games, and can contend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, D'Amico Ryans was one of the guys I wanted.
Yes. D'Amico Ryans is big down there, and the players love him, and he gets it. He gets it as a head coach. He's going to be a good head coach in this year.
He's already a good head coach.
Yeah, right. And I mean, he's blossoming right in front of our eyes too. Just like O'Connell is. So, this game is huge coming up this Sunday.
Yep. So, with that, back to the Jordan Love thing, just really quick. I agree with what you just said a little bit ago here about. Rushing him back. They're playing the frickin' Tennessee Titans this week. There's no real need to rush him back. I mean, he gets hit again. That knee could potentially
100% right now. They're trying harder to hell to have Jordan Love back by the time they play us.
Oh,
these divisional games are huge. This year, compared to other years, I believe, they're always big, but this year it's even more magnified, I think, in this division because it's going to be the competitiveness of it. The Detroit, possibly they know what's at stake with these divisional games, and they're going to try to rush Jordan Love back to make sure that he's ready to play against us, which will be next week. And I believe I wouldn't want to be Jordan Love coming up against this Flores defense that's about ready to fire on all cylinders.
No. And I can see him playing next week, and that's even earlier than I thought it was going to be. But playing this week,
no, he won't.
I think they're playing. They're playing that little injury report game thing again. Will he do this? Will he not? Will blah 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 blah. I mean, you also got to look at it. Malik Willis is going up against his old team, the team that just let him go here.
It's going to be all about revenge game for Malik Willis and all that. And we're probably going to see him run the ball 60 times again this game.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to give Matt LaFleur all credit because last week they did what they needed to do to protect Malik Willis.
Big point by Drew here.
That one, yep. Yeah, I agree. And that first game last year, we throttled Jordan Love pretty good. And I think, this would be is going to be another one when we get to that point. But
we were scraping the bottom of the barrel by that time.
Yeah,
last year at the end of the season.
Defense was banged up, offense was banged up. Kirk was gone. All this other, we were on our 17th quarterback, all that other stuff. But we'll worry about Green Bay next week. But let's get your final word on the game from last week here before we move on to Houston for this week.
Every time, Ryan. Every time. It gets me every time.
It's kind of a thing.
Yeah. My take on the game, we won. I believed we could win. And we went in there. So far we've done what we expected, what we can do week in and week out, as far as what we've called on Vikings Uncensored. We're proving that we're a lot better than the skeptics thought we were. We're going in, we're giving 100% effort. You're seeing it, from week 1 to week 2, the effort is there. In the beginning of the game there, the first half, I was a little bit worried about Mason maybe taking control of the game and wearing out this defense, like it happened last year. A lot of times towards the end of the games, our defense was gassed.
Yeah.
But we adjusted. Second half, he didn't do much other than that 10-yard touchdown run, which is a need at the end for them. But without take away those 2 crucial red zone turnovers, and it's a whole other game, and it wouldn't have even been close, in my opinion.
No.
And you get in the end zone if you could get in the end zone after that pump block, that would have been ideal. I think Theo Jackson might have thought he was down when he grabbed that ball and picked it up, and he hesitated there. But if he would have grabbed it and just ran, he would have had a touchdown there. But yeah, you just got to clean things up in the red area as far as turnovers go. Especially that Aaron Jones fumbled in the end zone. That's pretty crushing there towards the end. The one bad throw that Darnold's had, basically this year. Goes for a pick, amazing pick by Fred Warner. Props to Fred Warner, man.
Fred Warner played. He balled out all game long.
Amazing last game, and it was a big reason why San Francisco stuck with us there at the end.
Yep.
And yeah, we did what we needed to do. We made Brock Purdy try to beat us, and he couldn't do it.
Oh,
and the defense was masterclass last weekend.
Yep,
I believe.
Well, and that's the thing. Brock Purdy has never lost to an NFC team except Minnesota, and he's lost to Minnesota twice.
And we got after him 6 times, 6 sacks.
Yep.
I mean, we're the fucking purple people eaters through 2 weeks, the new ones. Legitimately. This is the first time this defense has scared me. I mean, and excited me watching them play in a long, long time, Rhino.
Yep. Well, and that leads into my little trivia tidbits here that I found this afternoon. The Vikings have given up 23 points so far through 2 games. That's 3rd best in the NFL.
Right.
That is the fewest the Vikings have allowed in the first 2 games since 2007.
Wow.
They also have 11 sacks through 2 games, which is the most they have ever had in the history of the franchise through the first 2 games.
Leading the league. We're on pace for a shit ton of sacks.
Yep. And then they're also the first time in back-to-back games in 8 years with 5+ sacks and at least 1 interception in a game.
This defense is getting after it. You know what? We're not blitzing. We're not blitz crazy like we were last year either. Flores is really disguising the schemes that he's putting out there. And it's confusing.
Now we were closer to last year's average as far as blitzes go against San Francisco. We were like at 44.7%.
It was working though. It was working.
It was. But yeah, against the Giants, we were getting home with 4, so we only blitzed 22% of the time on that game. But
Ty Chandler, Patrick Jones, 2 big names from that game. Ty Chandler, Patrick Jones.
Now, I don't know who had Patrick Jones leading the team in sacks and being second in the league after 2 weeks on their bingo card. But hey,
well, look, you know what? Everson Griffin didn't have his breakout year until 3 or 4 years into his career.
Yeah,
because he sat behind Jared Allen for so many years. But I mean, he was a little bit more productive along the way than what Jones has been. But Jones is showing up in a big way so far this season.
Yeah, well, he's playing for his next deal, so he's got a little extra incentive this year. And I think a second year in Flores' system is helping him out quite a bit too.
And you're seeing a lot more twists and stunts on defense as well, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
That sack by Cashman is insane, squeezing between the tackle and the guard there. Just that little gap that he got through, and then just clean sack.
Yeah, amazing.
Cashman, another big name to bring up from San Francisco game.
Yep. We'll talk about that in just a little bit here, Stephen, but that's a very good point. Anything else you want to hit on the San Fran game before we put a little bow on that and move on to Houston?
One looked good. Jefferson got injured, but I mean, he's dated. He's going to play. It's been already said that he's going to play on Sunday.
Yep. So that's a good segue into the Houston game. Final injury report out this afternoon. 3 big names for the Vikings, 3 starters who will not go. Jordan Addison, Ivan Pace, a late add to the injury report. Apparently got dinged up in practice. And then Dallas Turner, of course, we saw late in the game against San Francisco. He tweaked his knee a little bit. He is out as well.
There you go. Give Steven a shout out there on that question since he popped it up there.
Yep. And that's what I was just
30
getting
seconds
to.
ago. Yeah, I'll let you go ahead and lead off on this one. What do you think?
I mean, the law. the Dallas Turner loss isn't as significant just because we've had other people stepping up. But I mean, Ivan Pace has been a rabid freaking chihuahua out there on that field both games so far. So, I mean, he's going to be missed a little bit. It's going to be, up to Grugier Hill and probably a little Brian Asamoah going, going to have to pick up the slack, and they're going to have to step up this week.
I think it's going to be a steady rotation between those two. And then if there's a hot hand, that guy will be the one that sticks.
Yep.
But yeah, with the Ivan Pace thing, that last week he wasn't his greatest game, but this is what I'm getting at. Okay, it came back to me. You see him making a lot of defensive calls out there before the snap.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the calls that he's making have been spot on as far as pre-snap reads and everything. You can see him shouting out the keys and all that 5 seconds before the snap comes in. It's been huge for this defense.
Good point on that as well, Drew. And Greenard and Cashman both, of course, played with Houston last year. And so it's a reunion game for them as well. And, a couple of guys that have been integral parts of this resurgent Vikings defense so far through 2 weeks. So.
A clean answer for me, Stephen, is last year I may have been a little bit more concerned, but this is what happened. I mean, when you have great depth, I think we're going to be just fine.
Yep.
And that depth has gone fantastic so far up to this point in the season. When you're able to rotate guys in and rush that passer like we have been, it really wears down your bookends on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
For the opposing team.
Yep. And Ryan comes in with the point I was just going to make. We're talking about Pace being out. This is absolutely a prime opportunity for Brian Asamoah to go out there and, show that he's worthy of still being on the team and
more than just a special teamer.
Yep. Yeah. Making it so that the coaching staff trusts him to come in and spell Cashman or Pace once in a while. They can go out there and he can make plays and not, be lost in coverage or taking bad angles on plays and things like that. Purple and Gold Bars, good evening. Depth is huge and how Beefalo uses players is good.
Exactly.
So not worried. Exactly. Yeah, very good point.
That's it right there.
But to the injury front, the Vikings are not the only ones dealing with some injuries coming in this week. Both of the top 2 running backs for Houston, Joe Mixon is doubtful with an ankle, guessing he probably does not play.
That's huge for the Texans, in my opinion.
It absolutely is. Joe Mixon's had a good start to the year so far. And then their backup, Damian Pierce, has a hamstring issue, so he's already listed as out, meaning Cam Akers is going to get the start and get most of the run as running back. So another old friend from games gone by from last year, at least anyway.
Yep.
Not have to Drew's point here. That's going to lessen the blow, I think, a little bit about Ivan Pace not being in there is the fact that the top 2 running backs, will not play most likely.
Huge point.
Yeah. And, Mixon has given us fits in the past. So, again, don't wish injuries on anybody, but you take the opportunity when you get there and you play teams when you play them. And this is
Cam Akers doesn't scare me. Jordan Mason scared me.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting the same feeling this week as far as the running back group goes in Houston.
Yeah, Cam Akers. I like Cam Akers, but he's no Jordan Mason. No, and he's running on 2 surgically repaired Achilles tendons as well. So KOC said he loves and expects Akers, but no, he does well. And what doesn't, so I imagine they make it very hard for him. Agreed, and that's a thing. We have the experience with him here last year, plus KOC had it with, in Los Angeles with the Rams as well too. So,
and that Houston offensive line really isn't that great.
No, it really isn't. I mean, you've got a couple.
It's attack the interior of that offensive line because they got backups coming in.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Laramie Tunsil out at left tackle. I mean, he's good left tackle. not what he once was,
Right.
but he's still a good tackle. They got Shaq Mason in at right guard, and that's really it about for the people that or names that people might know anyway. Kenyon Green is their left guard. Juice Scruggs is their center. I just remember that name from draft write-ups, but
sweet name.
yeah, I don't think he's done anything. And something called Titus Howard is their right tackle. So
no, the key to me is shutting down the key to me is shutting down that wide receiver group over there in Houston and making CJ Stroud try to beat you through the air.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. Dustin says now that
right.
Juice Scruggs is not playing now. The injury report I saw earlier on NFL.com didn't say anything about Juice.
Yeah, they got backups coming in this week along that offensive line.
Yeah. So that that there again, that's going to work in our benefit. Not having Ivan Pace as well. Hopefully, the guys up front can get a little bit more push going up against these backups. And who was it said here a minute ago? Purple and gold bars. If they can't run, Stroud is in trouble. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now the problem is that CJ Stroud can run. He's not a guy that looks to go. He's not like a Jaden Daniels or a.
He can run though. Yeah, he can run.
Yeah, he's not looking to run first, but he can take off and run if he needs to.
And yeah, I had alluded to that a little bit earlier as well in the episode.
Yeah,
I love how he disguises his schemes and concepts. And
yeah, I mean, there was a play last week where they showed 8 guys up on the line, showing blitz from every different direction, and they dropped back and played cover 2 out of it.
And they're unorthodox zone defenses that he's running that you don't typically see. It's very, very screen and mirrors, or smoke and mirrors, excuse me.
Yeah.
With Flores.
Absolutely it is. So I feel good even with Pace being out about our defense's ability to keep them in check. Now, of course, they may not have the running game, but I would stack up Houston's wide receiver core against anybody else in the league. I mean, you've got that wide receiver room is deep. Yeah. I mean, you've got Nico Collins, who's quickly turning into one of the better wide receivers in the league. You've got our old buddy Stefon Diggs, and you've got Tank Dell, who's no slouch either. So,
but I mean, I think our coverage has been pretty good through the first 2 weeks for the most part.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And that you could just see the effect. Gilmore has been playing excellent ball.
Well, Shaq Griffin's only given up 2 receptions.
Yeah,
in two games.
This is going to be a good test for our defensive backs. Absolutely. And Murph has been great too. He dropped that pick last week, which was another one. Yeah. If he would have caught that and kept his feet in bounds, would have been huge.
Yep. And that, yeah. But, with Murphy playing better too, he's back at his traditional position, playing nickel cornerback more often.
And Nico is nicked up as well, like Robert was alluding to down there. Nico is a little bit nicked up.
From what I'm hearing, he's probably going to play. Now, if he can't play, that would be huge. But
and then our old friend Diggs, their number 2 wideout over there in Houston, who hasn't really done much this series, found the end zone a few times, but as far as yardage goes, he really hasn't eaten.
Yep. And now what really concerns me though from Houston coming in is their defense. I mean, they're second in the league behind 2 behind us. They have 9 sacks. You've got that duo. They've got Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. I mean, that's a legit freaking pass rush.
Well, going back and hitting on Ryan's point here with the third down things, we had a great third down defense last week.
Yeah, they were like 2 for 11 last week.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as far as longevity, I would love to see the third and longs being shut down. And as far as from what I've seen last week, we had a great day on third downs. So
yeah,
but I absolutely agree as well.
Yeah, it has been an issue in the past, but looking at besides the those two pass rushers that they have, we just mentioned, of course, you got Mario Edwards is in the middle, pretty decent guy.
I
Rookie
think their
what's that?
their defensive line is kind of middle of the pack, but it's the linebackers you have to keep an eye on
Yeah.
over there. And
Yep.
their DBs are quietly very good defensive backs.
Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr., Kamari Lassiter, they're two starters. Stingley's going to be matched up on on Jefferson quite a bit. And I think that's going to be a matchup that I'm interested to watch. Stingley's a good cornerback. I mean,
oh yeah, he's proven it. He's a good quarterback.
I don't think he can't cover Jefferson one-on-one. I mean,
and Lassiter in his rookie year this year has looked really good as well. So
yeah,
but you got to look at Caleb Williams played like trash against this team, against the Texans.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Chicago's defense is no joke, but everybody's talking about, here again, like just same song and verse that we heard before the 49ers game. Houston's going to come into Minnesota and just chase them right out of the stadium. They barely beat the Colts on the road, and last week barely beat the Bears. I think it was a 6-point win, whatever it was. But, and I mean, Chicago's defense is legit, but Caleb Williams, through 2 weeks in the NFL season, has as many touchdown passes as I do.
Right. Yeah. And those interceptions he threw were the ugliest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, and then you see that at the end of the game where CJ Stroud tried to talk to him, give him a little advice or whatever, and he basically just blew him off and, what the hell do I need to listen to you for, and walk away.
That type of attitude's not going to get you very far in this league.
No. But, and I'm not trying to turn this into the Bears because we don't play them for a few weeks, but,
right.
Some of the stuff that we brought up as concerns with Caleb Williams prior to the draft is starting to rear its ugly head already through 2 weeks.
They're coming to light for sure. And yeah, I love our I love our D line versus their O line. Yeah, we had just talked about that, right?
Yep. Yeah, beat Indy and the Bears.
Exactly. I agree with that too.
Yeah, I mean,
Indy and the Bears.
Indy could not beat Malik Willis and Green Bay last week. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but it just they can't stop the run, which I think was the biggest problem because Green Bay ran it 86 times.
Great comment by Purple and Gold there.
Great conventional D, and they struggle. Beefalo is trailblazing with his philosophy. One of the best teams look like a mid-tier team. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I am pretty sure that Flores is going to have something special cooked up for him. I was on the Frozen Four podcast, the NFC North podcast that I guest on every once in a while last night, and brought that same thing up that, again, the non-Vikings fans were not real keen on the idea of Minnesota winning. And I brought all that up with, about Flores, the mad scientist that he is. He's been in the laboratory all week cooking up something special for Mr. Stroud. Norsevius, J.J. McCarthy's still the best rookie quarterback, and he hasn't played. Well, yeah. Of the three guys that have started so far, not a one of them have thrown a touchdown pass. Now,
I think Jaden Daniels probably looked the best out of all three of those guys.
Yeah.
They just touched the field last night, and he didn't do much, towards the end of the game there. So.
Yeah. I mean, the three guys that have started, I think they've all run for a touchdown now. But, none of them have thrown a touchdown pass yet. Of course, the guy that we got, that Sean Payton was gloating over the fact that he baited the Vikings into taking McCarthy so they could take Bo Nix. I mean,
yeah.
Bo Nix is doing exactly what Bo Nix did in Oregon. All of it, most of his passes are within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And he's, the numbers aren't showing up in the NFL because you're not playing Pac-12 defenses all the time.
Yeah, Sean Payton really got us there.
Yep. But anyway, we're not worried about Bo Nix. I just think it's funny, and that anytime that somebody can slap that shit-eating grin off of Sean Payton's face, it's a good day for me. But
Right.
Anyways. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, on to anything else. But before we go to that, let's go to the keys to the game, I guess, with the this week. So what are your three key points that you think we need to do this week, Lance, for us to beat Houston?
Continue to do what we've been doing on defense. Making life hard for the opposing quarterback. Shutting down the back end, not allowing them in the end zone, on long drives. Make them earn their way into the end zone on defense, like we've been doing the last 2 weeks. Shutting down the receivers over there in Houston is going to be huge. And then Sam Darnold continuing to build on this newfound Sam Darnold, and just keep taking command of this offense. Keep getting these people to believe in you, and just keep building. Just keep doing what we've been doing, basically, and we're going to continue to keep winning.
Yep. Now, Robert came with my first point. Got to get pressure on CJ Stroud. He's not a guy that is prone to turning the ball over.
No.
So you're going to have
this season.
No, you're going to, and he didn't throw very many last year either, which is surprising for a rookie.
I think he threw 5.
Yeah, which is, if you only throw 5 interceptions and you started the entire season, you're doing a pretty damn good job.
Right.
But you're going to have to get in Stroud's face. You're going to have to knock him down. You're going to have to get him off his mark. If, their starting center's not playing, get the guys up front, Tillery or Harrison Phillips or Bullard or whoever's coming through the middle, collapse that pocket, make him have to try to get out of the pocket, but keep him contained there. And then you run him into Greenard or Van Ginkel or Pat Jones or whoever's coming in off the edge.
Yeah, my game plan is pretty much the same as last week's game plan as far as going up against San Fran.
Yeah. Second, we got to get our running game going. We've done a pretty good job of it so far this week, or this season. Aaron Jones, of course, has rebranded the former Lambeau Leap. He now is calling it the Bank Vault that he's going to be doing in U.S. Bank Stadium. So, I would like to see him be able to try out his
Bank Vault,
remarketing Bank Vault this weekend at least once. Keep mixing it up with Ty Chandler. They've done a really good job this year of using both running backs. And, as we saw in, when Aaron Jones was in Green Bay, that's when he was at his best, when they were mixing it up with him and A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
You can't. I think if you try to run Aaron Jones 30, 40 times a game, you're going to run him down. He's going to get run down. He's going to get hurt. But if he's running 15 to 20 times a game and you're giving Ty Chandler 10 to 12 rushes a game, I think that's a recipe for success there.
Ty Chandler's kind of a little bit of a sneaky guy. He's a scat back type of back, but he will lower the shoulder to get that extra yard if he needs to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Steven here with the holding on to the ball. That's my key number 3, win the turnover battle. Vikings are 19-0 under Kevin O'Connell when we either are equal or win the turnover battle. So these, they plagued us last year. We've had them again this year a couple times. That thankfully they haven't killed us yet. We had the CJ Ham fumble week 1, had the Aaron Jones fumble down at the goal line week 2. You had the bad interception to Fred Warner last week. The one he threw week 1, you can't really do much about. That was tipped up in the air.
He only had the one turnover worthy play, and that was the play to Fred Warner.
Yep. And that's, we got to win that turnover battle. I want to see Sam Darnold continue, his path to the reclamation project that,
I believe Sam Darnold brings more juice to this offense than Kirk Cousins did.
I do too. And it's not a slight on Kirk Cousins.
No.
But Kirk was...
Howard broke it down really well. As much as I don't like coward. He
Mhm.
broke it down really well. Whereas in Kirk's more of a chef or more of a baker, and Darnold's more of a chef. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah. Kirk was great as long as everything stayed on script and you followed the instructions exactly how it was supposed to be going. But yeah, when things break down, I mean, you saw a couple times last week, Darnold broke out of the pocket, took off and ran and got a couple first downs.
clutch
There was,
runs
yeah,
towards the end of the last game.
now there was that one play where I wish he would have taken off and run because I think he would have gotten a first down on it, but he busted out of the pressure and then tried to step back and throw the ball downfield and ran into Ed Ingram and
And
basically,
then got a little bit rattled there, and then
yeah, and then Bosa got him from behind and
I believe he'll get. I think Darnold's going to continue to get better as the season goes on, as opposed to what Dobbs and Mullins did last year, because people are starting to bring up that too. But no, I think
yep.
Darnold's going to keep building on all of this as the season goes.
Yeah. Darnold is not Josh Dobbs. He's not. Darnold was drafted 3rd overall for a reason,
Right.
and he's,
And he's been given this moment, and so far he is showing the reason why he was taken
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we keep going back to this thing, the comment that Kevin O'Connell made where, he said teams fail young quarterbacks way before young quarterbacks fail teams. Unless you're Jamarcus Russell.
And like he also said, and like he also said this week, I want to quit talking about the past Sam Darnold.
Yep.
I want to talk about Sam Darnold moving forward in the present, because it's not the same.
No, it's not. And that's, and I think O'Connell's kind of taken a little bit of offense to some of this stuff where, you can't look back at that stuff because, he played on the fucking Jets. He played on the fucking Panthers. And we just had a whole deal a little bit earlier tonight about the dumpster fire organization that is the Carolina Panthers. But even at that, you remember when the Vikings played Carolina 2 years ago and Sam Darnold was still the quarterback down there, he threw for 400 yards against Ed Donatell's defense.
Yeah. I mean,
the talent has always been there.
And I believe Darnold's pulling the trigger wherein Kirk Cousins wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing here. Ryan makes a good point here. Kirk used to throw the check down because it was a safe play, and it was to live to fight another day, even if it meant, oh, now it's 4th down, we got to go. Darnold has got, I'm not going to say it's gunslinger to him, but he's more aggressive and he's willing to take a risk, which is what Justin Jefferson asked for, in the offseason. Just like, trust me, even if I look covered, I'm probably not covered. If you think you can get the ball in there, throw it. And
if we continue to see connections on deep balls like this, dare I say we're feeling kind of Randall Cunningham-ish at 98 here.
Oh,
as far as the offense goes,
that 97-yarder from Darnold to Jefferson last week. Yeah, it did bring back memories of that. Now the only difference I think was Jefferson cut it back across the middle. Moss would have just down the sidelines and
the thing is Darnold let it rip before he even split the defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So he trusted Jefferson to make the right call and to split those defenders, and it was placed right where it needed to be.
Kraken, welcome. We have another viewer from another country, from Australia. Thank you for joining us on I'd be early morning for you, I'm sure, or over there, I guess, but late night for us and morning for you, but welcome to the show. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it.
Crack your postures open if you got one.
And Darnold works on Tuesdays. Yes, Norsefius. He does have a tiny bit of gunslinger. Yep. And that's, didn't want to go that full. Yeah. Because gunslinger is like Nick Mullins, who just goes out there and says, fuck it, and just throws the ball and somebody's going to be there someplace, kind of thing.
Yep. No,
kind of
the thing with Sam Darnold, he has poise when he throws it. There's poise there. Whereas with a lot of gunslingers, just let it rip.
Right. Jared, good evening as well. Mobility is very good. Yeah, Darnold is way more mobile than a lot of people give him credit for, or, you don't think of Sam Darnold as being a mobile quarterback, but he can move around pretty nicely. I mean, and he can take off and run. He looks like he knows what he's doing instead of, other quarterbacks that we've had that look like a newborn colt trying to stumble his way out around the
field goal range was huge.
Yeah.
And to get down before the clock ran out, huge.
Yeah, well, that was that last drive where, we got the ball with 10 minutes to go. And, we needed to run clock and get down and get it back to his 2-score game. And he did it without Justin Jefferson, without Jordan Addison, without TJ Hawkinson. I mean, we were running our 2 wide receivers were Brandon Powell and Jalen Naylor. Now, Jalen Naylor is finally, showing what we have expected out of Jalen Naylor the last 3 years.
Dare I say that we're actually in good hands with Sam Darnold because he's used to playing with shit, and managing a team. And I mean, even our crap is better than the stuff that he had before.
Yeah. No, we're not saying Jalen Naylor or Brandon Powell are crap, but they're wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. But I mean, he had poise. He stood in the pocket. He delivered that throw to Naylor on 3rd down was just spot on.
Our depth is much better than the depth he has ever had. Is basically what I'm saying there as far
absolutely,
as absolutely is where I'm going with that.
I think we are on the cusp of a breakout game for Aaron Jones. I don't know that we'll see it this week, but I do believe next week he's going to have a little something extra spicy under the sombrero for his return to Green Bay. But
that Houston run defense is tough.
Yeah. The Houston defense in general is tough. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. It's not going to be, both teams scoring in the 30s or anything like that. But anything else you want to touch on the game here or the preview here before we move on? Or
no, we can move on. I think we're good here.
All right. So with that, don't care if we lose all the other games as long as we beat the Packers. I don't want to lose the rest of the games either. But yes,
the way things feel right now. No.
But yes, beating the Packers is of paramount, of course. But with that, we are going to move on to the regionally well-known, fairly famous, and sometimes asked about, clamored for by tens and tens of people all over the country. The NFC North predictions segment, where we look at not only the Minnesota Vikings game for the weekend, but also the games of our NFC North rivals. Starting off with the game we kind of talked about here a little bit ago, the Green Bay Packers traveling to Nashville to play the Tennessee Titans. What do you think on that one there, Brunswick?
I mean, I just don't know what to expect out of this Green Bay team as far as game plan goes. I mean, last week, I think it's going to be harder for them to win this week than what it was last week because they were able to surprise a bunch of people with the game plan they ran against Indy. Now, I think Tennessee is going to be expecting that type of game plan again this week. If Malik Willis coming back in and starting a second game against Tennessee, I think Tennessee wins this game. Not that Tennessee is very good, and I don't really have a lot of confidence in that pick. But I look for Green Bay to try to do exactly what they did to Indy, and it just comes down to Tennessee being able to stop it.
Yeah. I have zero faith in Will Levis in Tennessee.
I have more faith in Will Levis than I do in Malik Willis.
I mean, Will Levis has had a couple of extremely stupid plays the last couple of weeks. Even that one,
arguably the stupidest play in quite some time last week.
I mean, last week, he's walking back to sidelines and the coach is running down the field at him going, "What the fuck are you doing?
Take the sack, man."
Yeah, I mean, so you got that. So don't underestimate the power of Will Levis to screw things up. That being said,
we definitely
I think they're trying to rush Jordan Love back. We talked about that a little bit ago. I don't think it's a good idea to play him this week. I really don't. And that's just talking as somebody who follows football and all this other stuff, biases and rivalries aside. I don't think it's in Jordan Love's best interest to play this week.
I feel like that their thought process is, man, we need to have Jordan Love back for that Minnesota game. It's huge. And they are trying to rush him back for that game against us.
Yeah. MCL is usually 4 to 6 weeks, and he's going to be.
If he does play, he's going to be wearing a brace.
Yeah. I even if he doesn't play this week and plays next week, I still think he'd probably have a brace on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not play Jordan Love this week. They had a good game plan.
Longer outlook at the season, I would not be playing I would not be playing him on a bum MCL at all.
No. Now, Tennessee's run defense, I think, is a little bit better, so they probably might have a little bit more issue.
If anyone knows how to stop Malik Willis, straight up stop Malik Willis, it's nobody. It's Tennessee. They know what they had in Malik Willis. They're going to stop him somehow, some way, unless.
But then, on the flip side, this is kind of a revenge game for Malik Willis, and I think that's going to play into part of him playing too. Plus, it's an AFC game, so if they do lose, it doesn't count as much as if they lose an NFC game.
Perfect, great comment.
Yep, absolutely.
All good comments coming from Purple and Gold tonight, man, for sure.
Spot on. And the RG3 thing, I never thought of that, but that's a very good point. That's what they did in Washington. They tried to rush RG3 back because they were going into the playoffs. He got hurt a second time, and it killed his career.
Yeah, it did. Absolutely killed his career.
He was, at what he got to that, and he lost his mobility, and after that, he couldn't do it on the level.
And this talk isn't because we're scared of Jordan Love.
No, I'm not scared of any. I'm not really scared of any quarterback other than maybe Patrick Mahomes right now because of what Brian Flores is showing that he's been doing the last couple of weeks.
And I'm not, he doesn't even scare me because we almost beat him last year.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So
my mentality's bringing on. But yeah, Tennessee wins in my opinion.
Tennessee's got this one. I picked. Well, I'm prefacing this. If Jordan Love plays, I think Green Bay wins, even assuming that he doesn't get hurt himself any worse than he already is. But if it's Malik Willis, then I think Tennessee finds a way to win this game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be, 17-13, 13-10, somewhere in there. But I think the Titans just have a little bit more. Again, with the battle of the bad quarterbacks, I think Tennessee comes out on top. Next game, the Chicago Bears go to Indianapolis to take on the Colts.
I don't want to say this, but with the way that defense is rolling in Chicago, and the way they've been able to keep games close, and I don't think Indy has an identity right now, and they're a little bit in disarray after that loss to Malik Willis led Green Bay team. I look for Chicago to definitely make this a game, and I'm going to give Chicago the win here.
Yeah. Now, the thing of it is, Indy couldn't stop the run last week in Green Bay with Josh Jacobs and company, showed that they could run the ball. Chicago has not shown that they can run the ball yet this year. DeAndre Swift, they brought him in the offseason. He averaged 1.5 yards per carry last week against Houston.
What Caleb Williams is trying to do over there in Chicago is not working for him.
No, I have zero faith in Chicago's offense. Chicago's defense is no joke.
7 sacks. He took 7 sacks last week.
Yeah. Because he's sitting on there again, like I have brought up many times. He's out there trying to make those Sports Center highlight plays and running around circles and all that other stuff.
Constantly playing hero ball, and you cannot do that.
No.
So you have to have some sort of conventional quarterback ability in your system.
Right.
And
so
Patrick Mahomes has that. And right now, I'm not seeing it in Caleb Williams at all.
No, I'm not either. But I think, again, Chicago's defense is no joke. But I think
unless Anthony Richardson rebounds.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a little bit of a rebound this week, and I think that Indy's going to win a close one here.
That'd be
again,
fantastic.
probably a 3 to 4 point game, but I'm picking Indy in this one.
I hope Indy wins.
I do too.
But I just don't know. It all comes down to how Richardson plays.
Yep. The third game, then, the Detroit Lions go to the Valley of the Sun to face the Arizona Cardinals.
Who are playing really good football, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are. They balled out last week. Marvin Harrison.
This could turn into a really good game, in my opinion. This could turn into a really good game.
Yep. Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of had his coming out last week. He played very well. Kyler Murray has done extremely well the first 2 weeks.
He's been playing really, really well. Looking like the old Kyler Murray before the whole reports of his Xbox addictions.
The new version of Call of Duty hasn't come out yet, so this is usually when Kyler Murray shines. So,
he's looking good. That Arizona team is surprising people, I think, and they're better than people expected them to be as well.
Granted, last week they played a Rams team who is basically missing everybody. You know, the Rams have been decimated by injuries, but
that offense is putting up points there in Arizona, though.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, Detroit still has not shown that their secondary can stop anyone, especially somebody the caliber of Marvin Harrison. You know, Aiden Hutchinson, though, leading the league with 5.5 sacks. You got to watch him on the outside. The front seven of Detroit's defense is good. It's their back end that they have problems with.
This is a big statement win for Arizona. I mean, this is a chance for Arizona to come out and put the league on notice. Yep. You know.
Yeah, because I mean they win this week. They're tied for the lead in the NFC West. I mean,
and then Detroit's starting to scramble. I think if that's the case, if they lose to Arizona, they might start scrambling a little bit.
You know, and to this point,
Goff has not looked good.
No, he has not. He's looks rusty. He's not as sharp as he was. You know, they've got all the weapons. Sam Laporta has been almost invisible so far this year.
Yeah.
So, and then of course you've got, Dan Campbell still doing Dan Campbell things, but I think the Cardinals take this game too. I think this could be a very high scoring game.
I look for it to be a high scoring game. And I think being it's in Arizona comes away with the win, and Detroit's sitting at 1-2, wondering what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be as I talked about earlier, where the Packers-Titans game is not going. There's nobody's going to score 30 points. I think both teams here could score 30 points.
Yeah.
It could be
the highest scoring game of the week.
It could be 37 to 33 or somewhere in that range. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other, but I think it's going to be a high scoring, entertaining game. But I'm going to take Cardinals going on top on this one. All right. That brings us to the creme de la creme battle of 2-0 teams. US Bank Stadium, noon on Sunday, the Houston Texans and the Minnesota Vikings.
I think we continue to roll. I do. I look for it to be a 10-point spread in our favor. So I am not as threatened by Houston as I was by San Francisco. So
no, I thought of the,
not that I'm overlooking Houston by any means, but this is a game that we can win.
Yeah. And when I was before the season looking at the San Francisco game and the Houston game, I thought Houston would be an easier win than San Francisco would. Now, again, Houston's 2-0. They have played two bad teams so far. So just like everybody says, do we really know who the Minnesota Vikings are? Do we know who the Houston Texans are?
That's just it. Exactly. There's a lot of
their defense is good. Their offense has got a ton of talent over there. But as we talked about in length earlier, they don't have much on the offensive line. And I think they can get the Vikings defense. Flores will have something cooked up. They can get to CJ Stroud. And if you start knocking him off his point, I think that's going to be a key to keep, to win in this game. And I think the Minnesota Vikings do win this game. I think it's not going to be a super high scoring game. I'm going to say, 27-17 I'll go.
10-point spread. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling too about that. And Kraken's got a little comment here. I agree to disagree. I think our defense can keep this level up, and I don't think we've even seen the best version of this defense yet. We're only 3 weeks into the season, and we're firing off right now. And typically it takes about 5 to 6 weeks for Flores defense to start kicking on all cylinders. But I think our defense is going to continue playing at this high level.
Yeah, that's absolutely the thing. Flores' defenses have historically started off slow, and we start out if this is starting out slow, then the rest of the league better watch out in a couple of weeks.
Right. I honestly look for after the bye week for the best version of this team to come forward. And that to me is scary for the rest of the league.
Oh, I believe so too, because you're going to have TJ Hawkinson back at that point. You're going to have Jordan Addison back at that point. And some of these other guys that are a bit nicked up can be back.
Gabriel Murphy might be back, and that could be another little piece to add to this defense.
Yeah. It all depends on, if you can find room for him to be on the active roster. He's still probably be a practice squad guy, I would assume.
I don't know if there's a reason why they put him on the IR on the 50, on the 53 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't
think they can sneak him through the waiver.
No, and I'm still of the mindset that they maybe just keep him on IR all year long.
That's possible too. That's possible.
Knowing the fact that, Pat Jones, especially the way he's playing now, probably is going to get a contract someplace else next year. And they're going to need somebody to backfill in there with that. And I think that's Gabriel Murphy.
We come firing out of a cannon after the bye week. I'd say we get shot out of a cannon after the bye week, and we just start rolling over bitches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because everybody has said that the Vikings have a tough schedule, one of the tougher schedules in the league, regardless. Which I don't understand how that happened when we were a 4th place team in the NFC North last year.
Strong, but it softens up towards the end of the season.
Right.
But you just don't really know because things change throughout the season.
Yeah.
Who are the good teams, and that will all get sorted out about midway through, I believe.
Right. You've got teams that everybody thought were going to be the cream of the crop that, look at the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought, they got Vic Fangio over there. That defense that they played that end of the fourth quarter there when Cousins came back on them. It was shadows of Ed Donatel himself standing on the sidelines. It was.
Look at New Orleans and Dallas. What's Dallas? I don't even think they're. And then New Orleans be coming out of the gate 2-0.
Yeah, nobody expected New Orleans to be where they're at, and that's a funny thing. Everybody's slobbering all over New Orleans for being 2-0, yet they're still saying that the Vikings are ass. I
do not trust Derek Carr. We've played Derek Carr on numerous occasions, and we've shut him down.
Yeah, no, Derek Carr is going to remember that he's Derek Carr at some point in time here.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, with that, we've rolled over an hour here in time. I figured this would be a short episode, but as you guys bring the great comments in the chat all the time, we get off on tangents and talk to stuff, which is great. And that's why we do these live shows. And I love doing this. I want to thank you guys all for joining us on a late night, on a late Friday. I know everybody's busy, has lives and stuff, but thank you very much for coming in and joining us. If you haven't done so, hit that like and subscribe as you head out the door tonight. Helps us out a ton and helps build the brand. We do this for you guys. We love doing it. We love having you here every night. Purple and Gold, we're happy that you found us as well. Hope you're join us in future episodes as well as Kraken. Thank you for joining all the way from Australia.
Yes. All you guys, all the new names tonight.
Yep. The Filipino fan club, of course.
The OGs.
Always watching as well. And everybody, all the OGs, of course. Again, big thank you to everybody. Rhinos Rants will be on Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, where we will do a recap of the Houston game. And then, of course, the Vikings Uncensored Studio show on again next weekend prior to the game for your preview versus the Green Bay Packers.
We'll have you give out an official time on that on Mondays on Rhinos Rants.
Yep. We'll get that figured out for sure. And working a couple things in the background, maybe have a guest for the Packers game. I haven't been able to confirm anything yet, but kind of got some feelers out. So we'll see how that goes as well. But with that, again, thank you very much, everybody. And why don't you take us out of here, Brunswick?
We haven't mentioned it all night except for a little bit in the beginning, but once again, a huge congratulations to Rhino tying the knot yesterday. Congratulations, bud. Many
Thank
happy
you.
years forward. Also, we didn't really touch on it this episode, but KOC, man, play calling has been on point this season, especially in the red zone. Look at those 2 plays that he drew up to Naylor. Those are beautiful, just eye-popping plays to Naylor in the red zone there. I look to have Houston come in this weekend and walk away with another huge win. And with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys all next week for next week's episode of Vikings Uncensored. Skol.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Where's my closeout? Hold on. There we go.